hopefully this doesn't happen to you, but I run into a number of people who like to complain about others, but they really don't want to do anything about it. And what I'm hearing from the gospel and from the first reading is, if there's something wrong, you should talk to somebody about it. It's not enough to just go behind their backs and saying, man, did you see what this guy, what that girl did? Can't believe that. What a jerk. Are you willing to actually confront somebody and to say, hey, this is something I've noticed. What's going on here? Let's talk about this. What are you struggling with? That takes a lot more courage than to gossip about somebody. There's another virtue that I think we need, though, more than just courage. We also need the virtue of prudence when we're discerning all of these things, because sometimes when we're looking out at somebody else and saying, wow, that person's really messed up, they've got something I need to correct, we should also at the same time be looking in on ourselves to say, okay, what am I perceiving in them that maybe I'm projecting, maybe I'm struggling with in my own heart? There's other passages like Christ talks about taking the beam out of your eye before taking the splinter out of somebody else's. But gossip is one of these very deadly things that can start splintering and dividing a community very quickly. And if you're doing what this gospel is saying, what it's often called fraternal correction, this should be something that brings a lot of healing to a community. When you notice something in somebody else, and maybe either you're talking to somebody else or somebody else is talking to you about these things, maybe it's worthwhile to pause that conversation and say, is there something we need to do about this? Or are you just complaining for the sake of complaining? It's a tough call. Sometimes we just want to complain. But when other peoples are involved, we have to start challenging ourselves and others. Because unfortunately, we live in a very broken world. We all carry around different baggages that have influenced the way that we treat one another. And so sometimes we've learned behaviors that are not so good. It's a really hard thing to call somebody out. But I guess another piece I would say about if you feel the need or the challenge to go correct somebody, to really take seriously Christ's words, to do it in private. To not put them on Facebook, blow them up on blast or in front of a group of people and say, hey, you're really a jerk. Did you know that? What's the motivation that we do any of these things? What's the motivation that I'm talking about this person with somebody else? What's the motivation that I use to finally go and confront this person? If it's anything other than love, then I need to check myself. If it's because I truly believe that I want to see this person strive and maybe some words that I give them might help them do just that, then that might be all right. We could also talk about bringing in other witnesses and then eventually the church and everything else, but I think for a lot of us, we just need to start at that one basic one-on-one conversation with somebody. Another point to maybe keep in mind is, do I have a relationship with this person that I'm confronting? Because it might be easy to do that with a stranger where there's no love lost, whether something happens or not, but do I actually have a relationship with this person? Is there actually some trust founded there where I can say, hey, I really care about you, I really love you, and I'm noticing this thing that's destroying you. Maybe don't use that language, but the other extreme that can sometimes happen in this fraternal correction piece is you go straight to the top. I know I've had people go straight to the bishop to talk about me. It's not a very fun experience, and then if you ever do come and talk about me, I'm not very inclined to listen to you. Let's start on the lowest common denominator here. All of this, again, has to be done out of love. This is not an easy thing to do. But let again love be the motivation for any conversation you have with someone. And it might just have the power to transform lives.